Core Stories, Ordinary Marines, Extraordinary Lives.
This is my second post. First one was Oslo. When I first came here, because Oslo's a relatively small area, and I came in on like a weekend, like a holiday here, so there was like no one here. It was completely empty. It was like a big Egyptian holiday, like 7 days long. It was completely empty. So when I walked in, there was like a couple of people here, and then the first thing I see is the big Cairo 1 tower, and I was just like, it's huge, way bigger than I thought it was going to be. So that was my first introduction. Plus, on top of that, the driving was different, all that stuff. So it was interesting, a lot louder than I expected it to be. A lot more accordance than I'm used to. Definitely. But you get used to it. They talk to each other. It's very interesting. Very interesting. And that was good when I came here. Again, I showed up on a holiday, so I didn't get to meet any the house help or anything like that until like about a week into when we being here. So
myself and Lance and Kendall are the two, the oldest in age, but we've been here the longest. We arrived at the same time. We flew in together. We got here, I want to say it was a weekend, and it was pretty late when we got here, around 2300. And first impression after getting out of the airport is immediately the traffic. Completely different from what I'm used to. Like Sergeant Morris said, it's a more honking culture here. And just the erratic driving is from the airport to here is eye-opening. I couldn't keep my face away from the window, just going about to hit this dude, or there's no red lights, no stop signs, nothing. It was just all just flowing in. And eventually got used to it. Custom. You say some of the things that I've learned from here is to definitely be more appreciative of what I have back at home. You always might think, growing up, wish I had that or this, because you don't, maybe you're not as fortunate as some others that you think. But coming here, it's definitely humbled me, per se, especially when you go out in the streets and you go outside walking. You see some of the living conditions that these people are in and how they make it day to day. It definitely makes you take a step back. I really didn't have that bad. Within the debt, we're a pretty small group, I'd guess put it, and that's what I'm used to. Growing up, I only had one younger brother. We were separated by 7 years, so we're really close to him. And that normal brother relationship. So he's always playing football. It was a smaller team, so I was used to the small group of guys, and then same thing here, small group of guys. It really changed the way you interact and the way you build those bonds. I think I'll just continue to carry that with me, as well as being humble.
And first impressions coming here was, like you said, coming out of the airport right away, traffic, no lights, nothing, and all the braking and randomly stopping. That was a new one for me. And then arriving here, and I went to Tahrir Square, which is right next door. Going there was just seeing all the, I guess you could say, flea markets. I go in and out, seeing everything. That was new, but not really, since I go to a lot of flea markets back home too. But that was something. And coming to the detachment, I'm a first poster, so it was everything was new to me. And seeing just how it works and everything, how it runs. But right away, I got along with most of the guys, all my peers, and also my bosses, if you can say. But biggest thing was the the leadership that was here, and everything they showed me was just a big thing that I saw. And I just admired most of my peers and everyone.
Yeah, I think the biggest culture shock for me was, growing up in America, growing up down south in a predominantly Christian area, and then getting plunged right into the heart of a Muslim predominant country. That's probably the biggest culture shock for me. Yeah, the dead's great. Really, my first 2 deads were 1 and 7, so now for me, I'm jumping into a humongous dead compared to my first 2 posts. So there's a lot more small unit leadership, a lot more, working out together and just unit building, team building activities here. And I love it, honestly, compared to the first 2 detachments. So, I've done a little bit of research coming here, so I kind of knew what to expect, but the immigration control here is, my goodness. They got the airport on lock. It takes forever to get out of that airport. It was a waiting game for sure. I spent over an hour waiting on my bags. I think a little bit longer than others, but there was a headache trying to get out of that airport. Yeah, big deads. They're ran more, the way I view it, they're ran more like a fleet style.
Sure.
They're more constructed than the 1 and 7 deads. I guess because there's more Marines here. I guess it just depends on, the type of country you're in, stuff like that really decide, and the size of the mission, right? Because the concept was, 2-story building. It was very small.
Yes.
And so you don't really need that many Marines protecting it.
My first time.
Tell me what it was like.
I was previously in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I was a bit bummed out that I never made time to come to Cairo because we're right next door to each other. And, life, someone's looking out for me. Opportunity presented itself. And I said, yes, I'd love to. I'd love to go, and I just started working with whatever I needed to work to get over here. First impression, I came very early in the morning. It was around 2:30, 3 a.m. There wasn't much traffic. I was kind of used to the bad driving already. And it reminded me a lot of Saudi Arabia. It felt like I was back.
Okay.
So it wasn't much of a shock to me. But what did come to a shock later was throughout the day, walking around, driving around, was the driving. I didn't know it could get any worse, and it definitely did. I thought there was bad drivers in Saudi Arabia. I thought they're even worse in Mauritania. When I come to Cairo, I think it takes it. It definitely takes it. And you do think they're bad drivers, but they all work with each other. They honk at each other. They're communicating, and they avoid each other as much as possible.
I guess it'd be from the Marine Corps background, because I really come from a big town, Jersey Large, so I didn't come from like a big city or anything like that where I came from. But when I was in the Marine Corps, I came from a relatively large, I guess you could say. Like my unit was like pretty large, so and they're like, you're going to a large, you're going to be in a large building, you're going to be with a lot of people, so on and so forth. I was like, oh, okay, I'm used to this. Yeah. So I think it was more of a shock when I went to my first place, and it was like, yeah, we've got, the numbers were a little bit on the low side, but then I came here and I was like, oh, okay, there's lots of people, lots of stuff going on, always busy, stuff like that. So I think that helped a lot, because I know a lot of people who, especially if you in the Marine Corps specifically, if you are from a really small unit and then you go to a big unit, it takes a little bit to adjust to get into the swing of things and understand how the tempo of everything, because it moves very very quickly, because there's so many people. One thing can hit 3 people all at once, and then 5 things can get done within. That's ridiculously fast comparatively to where it's if you have a smaller group, it's one thing can get done and it takes half the day. So I think that definitely helps. So on that, I asked about that because that was one of the first things they told me about when I got there, was they were because the deck commander that I had back then was you're gonna be there's training that happens here. And I was like, okay. They were that is nothing to do with this. I was like,
Okay.
What? It was they're not gonna talk to us. They're not gonna come down here and talk to us unless they specifically want to come down and get something from the deck.
I would say having a positive mindset probably helped me the most here and throughout the military career. I developed having to have a positive mindset when I was younger. If you dealt a bad hand or this may not be going your way, just think about it a different way. Don't always be so negative about it. If you're going to be negative about it, you're just going to like be miserable the rest of the day or the rest of the time. And having that and then joining definitely helps, you know.
Optimism. Basically.
Optimism, yeah. Just looking at it a different angle, you know, be on the bright side of things. And I'd say it definitely helps here. It's definitely helped in my training I had. Because, like Gunny said before, it's just a year. Came in 2023. We graduated the MSG schoolhouse that year in December. And then came out here, or no, 2022, my bad. I came out here in 2023.
Well, even before the Marine Corps, it was just discipline that I had. Obviously, it was from my family that just instilled it. And then when I answered the Marine Corps, same situation as him for roughly a year. It was just all training, and for that, all you needed was discipline, and you would be able to get through it. Optimism played a big part, but I feel discipline was the hardest thing they instill, and you should have it already. Because if you don't, you know, they bring you down, bring you up. But even after that, bringing that over here to this, my first, I guess you would say, job, would be, discipline's a big one because you can improve as much as you want if you're willing to put in the work, and that all comes with discipline.
Yeah, I'd say for me, growing up, I was instilled with manners. I have manners and respect for people. And it helps me here because I think not a lot of people have that these days. Just kind of people. My family taught me not to judge a book by its cover. And, you know, I treat people with respect, and 9 times out of 10, I get respected back. So manners goes a long way for me, and just respecting people and being kind, it gets you a long way. Like when I got here, the house help here have been nothing but nice. They treat me with respect. They tell me all the time they love me. They're great people, and we get along great. The problem comes when people either disrespect them, or you know, you just don't portray kindness, or you're just not respectful to someone, then problems arise. But if I approach you in a polite manner, in a respectful manner, you're automatically going to reciprocate what I'm giving to you.
That's right.
So, and that's what I found coming here. So, yeah, I couldn't ask for, you know, a better place in that aspect. And there is definitely a language barrier. And that goes back to me, you know, showing them respect. And what's impressive about it is that I've never took an Arabic class in my life. So they speak more English, you know. So theoretically, well, in reality, they know more of English than I do Arabic. So the polite thing for me to do is try to hear them out, and I do. And, you know, I hear them out and try to guess what they mean and say what they mean, and then they catch on, and then we catch on together. And so that, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, I give them a chance to say what they got to say, and then I'll put 2 and 2 together, and I figure out what they're trying to say, and then we click. Both light bulbs come on at the same time.
Even early on in my Marine Corps career, I think definitely the way my mother raised me definitely helped me, you know, fit in easily with, you know, what Marine Corps discipline was. She raised me very well. Definitely helped me early on in my Marine Corps career, respecting my superiors.
So from where I'm from, it's unlike with most of these other gents, they grew up in a place where like, a lot of people are respectful and things like that. Where I was from, the kids didn't really do the whole respect thing. So it's really weird to like come here and like see like it's weird to see like people that have never met you like being the way that like Ashraf is, for example, the way that he is. I'm planning on getting out today. Either I'm going to be an iron worker or in naval bases over there, or I'm going to be a construction worker or a lineman for the state.
For me, again, it's being uplifted by this place. I want to carry that with me for the rest of my career, for the rest of my life. Like, I look at things in stores differently, like different products on shelves. So like all the little plastic toys you see, or plates and things you see, like people back at home are like rushing to the stores to buy this and that. Like after being here, seeing them make that stuff, like stamp it out, the children running around and that stuff. Like now, when I see that stuff in the stores, or even like back at home, like it doesn't like set right with me. Like it doesn't give me the same image. Like when I see like a little clay pot that's like been all nice made and printed or whatever. I'm not saying it came from Egypt personally, but I know it probably came from China or another country where the area is probably similar to this, and it just makes me think about it even more so than whereas someone's probably just going off an impulse buy. There's definitely like little factories out here stamping out shoes and little. There's definitely the handmade stuff, little knickknacks for like the tourists, but as far as like Tupperware plates, plastic toys and stuff like that. And then you even walk outside, you see the pollution level that's caused by all this, and the water, and it just makes for like a miserable environment out there. It makes me think twice about it when I see it on the shelf, all prettied up, and we're buying it back home, thinking nothing about it. And it's just one of the things I've got from this place. I never thought I would have made me think about something like that. After this, I'll probably stay through my time here, and then after that, I'll go back to the fleet for about a year and a half, and I could go east to west coast. I look forward to it partially, just something different, something new to learn. Like, granted, I learn something new here pretty much every day. I'm surrounded by higher leadership guys from different backgrounds, but that's a different mission set completely. I want to go back, possibly one more rank higher, hopefully. And there's going to be guys 2 ranks lower than me having to teach me the job. And again, being humble, listening, learning, gaining from their experience. It's almost a restarting because almost nothing here besides that core leadership is going to translate over. Like all the tactics they use, the equipment they're using, we learn everything.
What I took from, or what I'm going to take from here when I leave, would be, I would say, the reciprocation of respect that you just get mutually. Like right away, all the staff can say, and including ours that we have here, you just see right away how, Pepper was talking about earlier, right away you show respect, they right away show it back, and they keep going like that until obviously one day having a bad day or whatnot. And then you can just talk to another at least staff around the embassy, and they'll reciprocate it right away without any second thoughts, just because that's just how it is around here, which is great. And even outside, it's roughly the same. And like he was saying, when I leave, it'll be like appreciation, I guess you could say, just to see how they live on a day-to-day, and you see how, I guess you could say, it's admirable because they're so used to it that they're just like honest living, I guess you could say. And the hard work that you can see they actually put in. And the tourism, the tourists, they're not going to see that. As far as we will, because we're outside most of the time. And when I leave and job-wise, when I hit the fleet, it's still questionable for me if I'm going to stay in or not. As of right now, it's not bad at all. Like staying in doesn't seem bad. I've always just been into law enforcement, so that's always just a fallback if I have nothing else I really want to do.
Core Stories. Ordinary Marines, Extraordinary Lives.